First of all, don't victim blame me. Welcome to Vinyl Verdict. I'm Bell.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Plouffe.
And this week is my pick, I Love You, Honeybear, by Father John Misty. And like I kind of alluded to at the end of last week's episode, if you didn't listen to it, I had never listened to this album before I chose it.
Now, have you ever listened to Father John Misty before?
A couple songs, one from this album. And actually, like your pick of
Flaming
Lips, one of the songs was just good enough that I was like, I want to buy this
I
album.
understand.
And it came up in our local auction. We'll talk more about how I got it later.
Okay.
Before we get too started, I just want to note that there are some suggestive themes that may come up because I wouldn't say it's explicit. Like, I'm not going to mark the album explicit. There's one song name that has a swear that we're not going to say, Jamie. But it's a man being honest about his life and his past relationship. So, things come up.
I read it's a very personal album.
It is extremely personal.
This I found it to be aggressively horny.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So, let me start with who this is. Father John Misty is a stage name for Josh Tillman. I'm probably going to say Tillman instead of Father John Misty, or Father, or John, or Misty separately.
Call him John.
And Josh, that's not a name you respect,
All right.
Tillman. So
Pat
his
Tillman.
name might not be familiar, but he's actually a very experienced musician well before this album released. As though I Love You, Honeybear is the second album under the FJM moniker, it's actually the 12th album that he worked on or released. He released 8 albums under J. Tillman, obviously his name, and briefly played drums for the bands Fleet Foxes and Saxon Shore. Fleet Foxes is great, by the way. We'll probably cover them at some point.
I don't think I know anything by them.
I've heard both of them and Father John Misty, and I had never listened to either band. Yeah.
I knew who he like of him, but I think I got him confused with Ray LaMontagne for some reason.
But sure. I don't quite recall when I first heard Father John Misty, but I'm pretty sure I heard his song Real Love Baby sometime around its release in 2016, which would make sense. It's like his most popular song. It was in commercials and shows and movies, everything like that. It's very romantic. And after listening to Real Love Baby, I stumbled across the song Ideal Husband from this album, and it's been a favorite of mine ever since. But I never listened to any other song. I was just like, this is good. This other song is good. My friend Lauren really likes his first album, Fear Fun. And I was like, you know what? Why not get this? And again, we'll talk about how I got it later. But when this album was released in 2015, it was released to critical acclaim.
Really?
Like absolute, across the board positive. Even Pitchfork gave it an 8.8, marked it best new music. Like, this was a total hit.
Yeah, it's all 9s and 10s.
It's not bad. Like, I don't hate it. I'm just surprised that it's like that universally loved.
Yeah, I think he just has like a lot of industry experience. So he put out something that's very well produced. He had some really good ideas beforehand for marketing it. He put out a fake music streaming service that only did MIDI versions of the songs, and you could buy the album based on the MIDIs, which I think is a fun idea. Yeah. And he covered some Taylor Swift songs, which I mean is going to get you some fame.
Yeah.
So very good job.
His production credits, like the number of people he's worked with Beyonce and some other folks.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience. One of the things that makes this album special is that Tillman describes this album as a concept album. I've chosen a lot of concept albums on Vinyl Verdict, which is weird because they're not super popular in this day and age. Like, it was kind of back in the day, but not now. This album is about his personal life, including him, quote unquote, engaging in all manner of regrettable behavior, as well as his relationship with his wife, Emma. Apparently, he actually struggled to perform this live in front of people he knew back in the day because it's so true and based on his life. Yeah. And it was like really hard to admit and talk about this stuff in front of people that he knew or reference in these songs. And it pains me to say that I relate to some of these lyrics. I was like listening to some of this and I was like, oof, you don't really want to relate to a lot of these songs.
You are aggressively horny.
Stop. So I was like, man, it's a lot of this album is about fear of falling in love and like who you were in the past. It's like, ooh, it's coming to terms like, maybe what I did was not great.
Maybe I was cringe.
Is he still with his wife?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he truly is.
He met her in a parking lot or something?
Yeah, which comes up a couple times in the album.
Okay.
Yeah. Especially, I think Chateau Lobby Number 4 is a lot about how they met.
And the last song is like all about them meeting. And again, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But the last interesting fact I have about this album is that he has never called his wife Honeybear. I think it's more just to get the point across of like what kind of album this is. But that's not a thing he's ever said. I was like, huh.
Sounds like Sugar Pie Honey Bunch.
Wonder why he chose Honeybear.
No, it's just like cute, right?
Yeah, I guess. It's
Cutesy name.
Yeah, it's
We
just
call
like,
you a
you
cutesy
clearly
name.
know it's about
you
a
don't know
spouse.
about it. But
He knows about a partner
I
spouse. You
just-
say Honeybear.
I just wonder why he chose that if he never calls her that. It just seems kind of weird.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to people to know what he actually calls her.
Okay, sure.
Plouffe, what did you think of this album?
I thought it was decent. I liked a lot of it. I thought that it was definitely an album that sounds like a guy who has been in other bands before. Like, it sounded very well produced throughout essentially the whole thing.
He was a drummer for those other bands, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I
He's a
did not.
multi-instrumentalist.
Okay,
Well, yes.
sure.
Yeah.
I did not realize that he was a drummer for Fleet Foxes. I just read that he was part of the band before. I actually enjoyed it more than I expected to. And I thought that the lyrics were pretty decent most of the time, introspective enough without like trying too hard. And I actually really enjoyed how it's kind of. I don't typically like guy with a guitar or guy with a piano albums, but I think I like this album because it's that at the core. And then because of his production skills,
So much production.
he adds a lot more to it, and it actually becomes like a full song that I enjoyed listening to.
Certainly.
So yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would. I think he's been to Vancouver a few times because I've seen
Probably.
the name Father John Misty like lots over the last few years. So I was kind of keen to finally give him a shot. And I don't know if I would go crazy and buy a bunch of his albums or anything, but I liked it. I thought it was perfectly fine.
What do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, I really appreciated the level of production on it. As a person who does enjoy Guy with a Guitar albums, as some of the listeners may know, I own like basically every Neil Young album and basically every Bob Dylan album, and those are just guys with guitars. I really like a guy who can tell his story. Father John Misty or Josh or Mr. Tillman. Can tell a good story, but he also does a lot of interesting things with production. Like some of the songs are very thick, layered.
Triple C.
Yeah, Like for example, the first song on this album is a very involved song, the strings and so on and so forth. I think I enjoyed this album. I don't know if I loved it. But I didn't not enjoy it. I'll probably rate it, fairly decently. But the thing I had the most problem with was the ones that had the most personal meaning are the ones that I had the least to say about. Because they're not personal to me.
Yeah.
It's like someone telling you that they love their wife, and it's like, cool,
Yeah.
I've never met your wife.
I got the
I don't love your wife.
I don't love your wife. I don't give a shit about your wife.
I got very similar vibes a few times. It's like he's not saying anything new, but it's perfectly fine how it is. But it just didn't relate to very much to me. There are some songs that do for sure, but yeah, same kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, should we give one last listen?
One last listen.
I can hardly believe I found you, and I'm terrified by that. Running, tired of running. Let's put a baby in the oven. Would not make the ideal husband. Love is just an economy based on resource scarcity. What I fail to see is what that's gotta do with you and me.
I Love You, Honeybear.
Thank you.
It's the title track, and I really like this intro. It's very cinematic.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
romantic in like a dark and depressing way.
He has
It
a
feels
really
very
nice voice.
ominous.
Yeah, this whole album really goes back and forth for me between like cute and ominous. I really like that they actually opened with the title track instead of like sticking it either at the end or somewhere in the middle. It's like, no, you have a song that's got the same name as the album. Just own it, put it right at the start.
Yes,
Sure.
it's just like our favorite album. Every picture tells a story.
Yeah. Well, this song, I like how they talk about everything that's wrong in the world, all their flaws, and how they have this same bleak outlook. Like they're both
Yeah.
these damaged or pessimistic people, and they also have a lot of sex.
Yeah.
You know what I didn't like about this song, Belle? The description of their bedroom.
Yeah, it's very gross.
It's too much.
It's gross. Like I said, they have sex.
But
and
the
They sure do.
do drugs.
the
They
swell
sure
of
do.
the strings and the backing is infectious.
I really like the slow guitar.
It's got some of that slide
Yeah.
guitar.
Yeah.
You know what, Bell? Not Bell. You're Bell. Plouffe and I like slide guitar.
That good old lap steel
Slide guitar.
Well, how do you feel about mariachi? Because in
I
Chateau
love
Lobby number
mariachi.
4, in parentheses, in C for Two Virgins, has little hints of mariachi throughout the whole thing.
I'm
Where's
a
that?
big
Where's
fan.
that Herb Alpert at? Where's that Tijuana brass?
Yeah,
Sure.
I like cool mariachi stuff, or like flamenco, or I don't know, just something that's not American or North American, or I don't know. I like weird, different cultural sounds and stuff, and throwing a good mariachi band every now and then. I think that's why I like ska so much. I just like brass in general.
Yeah, sure.
But
I
yeah,
don't like
really
ska, but I will say I do like some brass.
yeah, I really like the trumpets or whatever they're using at the end quite a bit.
Yeah, it's not like the Mars Volta where I was like, why is it all of a sudden Spanish?
Yeah.
But this, I'm like, this is very tasteful and just
Yeah.
like these little hints of, it's almost like just bringing excitement.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if they have this relationship with Spanish stuff or, where they were living at the time, because I know they moved to Louisiana at one point, but
Yeah.
I really liked the hints
Yeah,
of it.
they referenced that in the last one.
Louisiana's like jazz and
No, I'm saying, like, I don't know where they were before
Oh,
because they
sure,
didn't
sure,
end up
right.
somewhere where this is.
right,
California, I believe. Right?
Yeah, bro.
I like
that
the
makes
the
sense.
first chorus being the special moment between the two of them making love for the first time.
Yeah.
Then there's this idea of them buying a secondhand wedding dress that someone might have died in.
That yeah.
And I mean, again, more sex. And then how they figured out that they both hated the same things, and that's when he wanted to be with her forever.
Yeah.
It's like, wow,
We hate the
same things, which again is very similar to the first song, but just this very blunt.
Yeah, that's
like
what
when you're, as we come to see in the later songs, like he's gone through a lot of bad and hard things.
Yeah.
So like for him to find someone else who's kind of as
Jaded.
jaded is a good way to
Yeah.
put it. Is fun.
Yeah, that's the goal of marriage, is finding someone who dislikes the same things that you dislike.
Amen.
Hell yeah. I wrote it's a nice song and it's got some weird lyrics. Like I don't know, someone was murdered in her dress, but whatever. It flows really nicely.
Yes, I will say most of the lyrics flow very nicely on this album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do. He's a good songwriter at the very least.
You know what I don't like? The next song.
True
It's very
Affection?
different. It's like his only electronic song.
This is the electronica one.
Yeah. I was like, what's going on here?
Wikipedia.
You know, it's about living in the digital, living
Yes.
and dating in the digital age,
I
and the
know.
frustrations alongside that, which I guess makes sense for it to be a more electronic song because it's about electronic age.
I
But
hated
again,
this one.
I don't know if it really fits.
This
I don't
does
know.
not
Not
fit
where
at
you
all. It
move
doesn't fit the rest of the album at all.
It doesn't fit the.
It
where-
fits the
two
album and
tracks
the
it is-
tone, or like
Sure.
the way what he's talking
The
about.
lyrics, sure.
But where it's sandwiched between does not fit.
No.
And Wikipedia frustratingly calls this folktronica.
Folktronica.
And that
Wow.
sucks.
I don't like that at
That's
all.
a sucky description.
Yeah, it's a tried and true song concept. I think this one's done interestingly enough. I like the line sentence by sentence. It's a trial run. I was like, oh, I like a good law pun. It's sentence texting back and forth.
Yeah.
Oh, I
'Cause
got
it's
it.
a trial between.
I actually
Anyways.
I wrote that I don't like it because it's kind of repetitive and it doesn't really say or do anything new or interesting. Like it's just another song about I don't know online dating. Like I don't know. I didn't.
It just reminded me that I'm lucky my girlfriend gave me a chance because I got 0 online riz.
Oh yeah.
Zero in person.
Zero in
riz, too,
person
yeah.
riz. Yeah.
I don't know.
was gonna say.
I've had like Tinder dates and stuff. Like it's fine.
Well, this guy's really flexing. He's got a
Does your
couple of
girlfriend
Tinder
know
dates over
about
here.
that?
She knows that I've used Tinder in the past before we started dating. That's about it.
You know, I like this. Not for this album, but I would like maybe an EP where something is more electronic. But
if he did a whole album like this, I wouldn't hate it as much. But here it sticks out like a
doesn't
sore
make any sense.
thumb.
Whatever folktronica is, I don't want to be part of it.
now we have the crazy titled "The Night Josh Tillman Came to Our Apartment."
Yeah, is this like about a threesome or something?
I don't know. It's
No.
Saw her naked in the tub.
It's
with
like
her
a
best
song
friend
about
or
how he
whatever
hates the woman he's
later.
on a date with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or, like
that's
he's in a
a-
relationship
yeah.
with.
He's
He
complaining
looks,
all the
like,
time.
really pretentious. I hate
Yes,
this whole
he
like
does.
you can't say literally. That's not what literally means.
It's
I'm like,
also
ugh.
he's also not using malaprop correctly. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe that's a joke then.
Maybe because malaprop is when you say like a similar sound, like bon appetit. That's malaprop instead of bon appetit. Or
understood.
what's another good one is like I don't know when you're
Oh, intents and purposes?
Yeah. Intense and or it's when you say a similar thing that's not quite right, not using literally incorrectly.
Yeah, using an incorrect word in place of a similar sounding word.
Yeah.
But again, maybe it's on purpose.
Maybe that's
it's hard
the
to tell.
joke. I don't
because
know.
His lyrics are so good that I'm like, it must be on purpose, especially when it's directly after that. To be so
Yeah.
pretentious and then use a word wrong
Yes.
is almost like the definition of a malaprop.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's hard to tell, but I always think that's so annoying when someone's like, oh, that's not what that word means.
You said literally, but are you literally breathing
Do you
in
mean figuratively?
the words from the song?
Yeah. And then especially because immediately after he's like trashing this woman, he fumbles to take off his shirt and has to do the whole "I swear this never happens," which I think is very
Yeah.
funny.
That's a Plouffe line.
Which is, I think, kind of proves that maybe is a joke because
I
he's
was
like
saying
all this
dang
high
on
and
the
mighty,
back.
and then like fumbles to undo her shirt and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, he's not actually he's not much
Suave.
better than she is or whatever.
Yeah. He's just as amateurish as everyone else. Yeah.
I do like the insane whiplash in the last line where he's like, randomly drops, "I obliged later on when you begged me to choke you," and then the song ends.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa.
It's like, all right,
What is
so
happening here?
they
He's
so
like,
they banged.
You're
at
in the
end.
bathtub. We're singing. I didn't like that you said you sounded like this woman. Anyways, yeah, I choked her.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Thanks, Josh Tillman. It's it's very laid back for the most part. Aside from that part, I thought it was okay. I didn't hate the song.
I don't really like the next song.
When
Wow, I love this next song.
when
I
you're
don't really
smiling
like it.
and
Oh.
astride me.
This is absolutely my kind of romantic. It made me sappy. It actually got me to the point where I was feeling a little sappy.
Oh, really?
Song made me uncomfortable.
Oh, it's like, it's all very realistic. Even the song title is blunt. It's like when you're smiling and sitting on me, because astride is like to
Yeah.
have your legs.
Yeah,
up.
I
Yeah.
understand that.
And I'm explaining for other people. Jamie,
Okay.
Don't worry. There are other people listening probably. It's
Maybe.
just such an easy picture to insert yourself in with your partner.
Something's getting
And
inserted.
the lines, "I can hardly believe I found you and I'm terrified by that. And that's how to live free, to be truly see and be seen."
The
I was
chorus
like, oh
of
my
women at the
goodness.
beginning with the fake moaning is weird.
Oh, Jamie,
It
you're just not a
made me
romantic.
uncomfortable.
You're just not a romantic. This, my goodness.
No, I'm old and
so
angry.
cute. It's even like, "I love you so much. I'm going to tell you about the dreams where I'm kissing my brother." It's like,
That's
oh,
weird,
that's so
though.
cute.
Weird,
Well,
dude.
I don't know. You've never had a
Very
weird
weird.
dream?
Not where I'm kissing my brother.
Well, have you
Is your
seen your
brother
brother?
attractive?
Yeah.
I mean, Belle's seen my brother.
Is he better looking than you?
Listen, we don't need to talk about his brother,
All right,
but
I'm trying-
I'm not
I'm trying to figure
I'm not junior kissing him.
I wrote this one's okay. I think the backing vocals help make it a bit different from the rest. I was kind of starting to get bored, though. I do like the faint guitar in the background. I found it to be a little bluesy and kind of sad, which was good. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it. I thought it was okay. I just don't think... I've heard a lot of love songs. This guy doesn't... That's the thing is, this guy writes a lot of stuff that is like, yeah, that's legit, but it's not new or interesting to me.
I think that's why maybe it's special, is when I was like researching this and looking through the lyrics and stuff, is realizing how different this is from anything else he's ever done.
Sure.
Like at one song later on, he goes like, "At one point I realized I was writing a love song."
Yeah.
And like that was special for me. I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool."
Yeah, and I do appreciate how personal all of this is. I fully believe that this is like real. Like, I don't think that he's like making fake stuff up or whatever a lot of the time. Like, it feels legit. It's just, I feel like I've heard a lot of this stuff before and he's just kind of saying it a little differently. Mm-hmm. That's my only problem with it. But I do like it still. Like, it's fine. It just doesn't connect with me.
I just like that differently. I don't want the Beatles kind of love song anymore.
No, I don't
I like
either.
this kind of like raw, this is dirty love. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah,
good.
sure, but I feel like I've heard that in other songs. This feels, the lyrics are, they don't suit the style of song that he's singing a lot of the time.
Sometimes.
It's very juxtaposed, like the way, and he swears every now and then just a little bit, and it doesn't fit the like kind of, how do you describe
The
this
song
genre?
is pretty, and then he puts a dirty swear. in
Yeah,
it.
exactly. So
Yeah, but that's what I like. It's like
I
that
like
again,
that
that
too.
juxtapose.
I like that part too. Yeah, but the rest of the lyrics don't always hit perfectly for me. I like some of them, but yeah.
Well, what do you think about "Nothing Good Ever Happens at the Goddamn Thirsty Crow"?
I like how long the title is. This was probably my favorite song, actually.
Really?
It's
I'm
kinda-
not a huge fan of this one.
Yeah, it's more of a slow country song. I think it had some interesting lyrics, and my only problem is I like how he pushes his voice a bit further in this one, particularly at the end. But every time he starts to do it, it's like he could go that one step further, and he never takes it. And
He needs that Jim James range, you know? He needs to really hit that crazy note.
Peanut butter pudding surprise. I wish he could just do it, though. Just that one, because he does it a few times on the albums, across the album, where he just like, he gets so close to hitting a really good range. And it's like, I don't know if he can't do it or if he's afraid to do it, but I wish he would just push himself just a few times while
You wish
listening
you get
to
to
this.
that peanut butter pudding surprise.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
peanut butter
it's
pudding
an interesting
surprise.
concept because it's a song about a bar that's changed from a place that Tillman loved as he'd go to hit on women to a place that he hated because men would hit on his wife when he was away on tour.
It's a whiskey bar. I thought it had some excellent slide guitar and some excellent strings.
Yeah.
And I thought they used them really well in this song.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I really liked the imagery or the lyrics.
No, sure.
I liked I think I liked the tone of his voice. I don't know if I really liked the message he was trying to send, but
Yeah, apparently this one's one that he said that he's disgusted by this version of himself. So like clearly this bar actually like meant a lot to him, and
Yeah.
like that first part of the song where he's talking about other women was probably something that was very common for a long part of his life. This isn't my favorite song though. I wouldn't cut a song, but if I would, I mean it would be True Affection.
Dang.
Or it'd be this one because I mean it
True-
just doesn't really do a whole lot for me.
True Affection really should be the one that gets cut, though. Let's
Yeah,
be
just cut
real
both.
here.
It's
Yeah,
fine.
sure.
It's a good song, but it just doesn't do anything for me. Up next, Strange Encounter, a song about one of the moments that probably triggered his big change in his life when a girl he has over starts to OD and almost dies.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Well, I like the fuzzy guitar solo.
I love that when it
I don't
happened.
know if it's a synth instead, but I really liked it. And I like the backing vocals quite a bit on this one as well.
I really liked how the pre-chorus goes into the chorus.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I think they were good.
Yeah, I like how through this he kind of finds he needs to make a change because he says, I want to find somebody, but not like this. Yeah, I'm a decent person, just a little aimless. I'm sure that would be a horrifying moment.
Oh, yeah.
And I love this openness where he's begging her not to die, and that if she survives, he's going to change his life.
Yeah.
I don't know. ODing is scary. I've been at like shows where somebody in front of me
Yeah.
like passes out and they start ODing, and I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like, that is so terrifying. And losing control is.
I've seen some
no good.
stuff. There has definitely been several points in my life where we are very lucky that things turned out okay, and we probably should have called an ambulance, and we didn't. And we didn't get in trouble because we didn't call an ambulance, but we probably should have.
Yes, if you're listening and you're in an emergency, call an ambulance.
Just do it. There's laws in Canada that make it totally okay, no matter what you're doing or
and if
whatever.
you're in a different country where there's not laws, it's probably still worth your friend's life.
Yes, absolutely.
Or you'd hope that someone would do that for you.
Totally.
Jamie, any thoughts?
No, I already talked about it. Yeah, the chorus. I like the guitar outro on this song. I don't really have a lot to think about the lyrics. That's, it's not off-putting. It's distressing.
Oh. Well,
Yeah.
up next, my favorite song, The Ideal Husband. This is the
didn't
one that I
have-
listen to a lot.
I didn't have a single note on this.
Really? Oh, I really
Not a
like this
single
song.
one.
It's just got a head banging. It's like a little harder than everything else.
Yeah, I like the drums and the faster pace on it. I like the keyboards. I don't. So I actually like whistling in songs too, but I don't like that weird spooky whistling or whatever it is in the background at the start. I actually don't
Or
like
like
it.
the wailing almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually didn't like it here. This was another one where I wrote I kind of wish he just sang a bit harder on this track.
I
Okay,
feel like
sure.
he does because he
He
hits it at the
tries
end.
to. He tries to. He like starts to get there, and I just wish he went that like one step further.
I like that it's well, we'll get to it, but this is apparently one of the two songs he had an outline for written before he met his wife Emma.
Oh.
And so he finished it and Strange Encounter after meeting her, where he kind of changed things up because it was affected by his
Yeah.
relationship with her.
Dang.
And it's again one of the harder songs for him to perform because it was written even before
Right.
he knew her. I love the pacing of the song and the vocals that Boarding on yelling the entire time until he lets loose at the end of the song. I think saving it till the end just makes it more impactful because at the end he's like begging her
Yeah.
to give him a chance, and I'm like, this is when you unleash. I also find it funny because the Julian who might have his files is Julian Assange from WikiLeaks. So I'm assuming that the premise of the song is that he becomes paranoid
Yeah.
that his past is going to come out when all these leaks and political things start happening, that he's like dumping it out to be like, no, look, I told you. It didn't. Someone else didn't tell you. Like, I told you. Doesn't that make me a decent husband or father or whatever like that.
Man, I've never even done anything that bad, but I don't want my like internet history to be known by people.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up in the, times where nothing was ever publicized really. So, yeah, I got lucky.
Yeah, so he dumps all this stuff out and has this realization that he's a bad person. And he's feeling the weight of those actions and hopes that admitting that he's done this wrong kind of absolves him of it. And then ends up outside of her house. And at like 2 minutes and 30 seconds is where he's like manic and shouting these lyrics about how he'll put a baby in the oven because he doesn't know that it's bun in the oven. And like do all this stuff for it. I'm like, oh yeah, this is this rising action until his voice gives out and the song ends. I'm like, this is chef's kiss to me.
Cook the baby.
Cook
Yeah, I
the
didn't have
baby.
anything. I didn't have a ton of thoughts. Like the last 4 songs, I only have notes for 2 of them.
Wow, really?
Is the next one Born in the USA? Because of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, it's a pun. It's a play on the title of the sort of. He performs it. The performance he did at Letterman was really good.
Born in the USA.
It's a
He,
song
he,
about
he
being
kind of
bored.
pronounces bored sort of like it sounds like born.
He wants you to know. It's on
Yeah.
purpose. It's
Yeah.
on purpose.
He wants you to know.
I like all the relationship reductions, like passionate obligation to a roommate, and the stranger's body still here. Our arrangement hasn't changed. It's like this person next to you, you've been with them for a while, you're used to them, or you're falling out of love with them.
Yeah.
And there's even this kind of expansion on the American dream, where it's like as a child, you think you're excited to live with a stranger. Like it's a weird goal to set.
It's like what happens when you're married for 80 years.
It's a lot less interesting than what you're told as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know Bruce Springsteen.
What about
but
the
I need
spooky
reference.
laughter?
So he apparently did that. I don't like it, but he did that because
Oh, the backing track.
yeah,
it like relieves tension a bit.
it was to help neutralize uncomfortable ideas, is apparently what he said. And that just kind of sounds like he's playing it safe. And I get that this album is the opposite of that for the most part because it's very personal. But in other ways across the whole thing, I find he plays it safe. And this is part of that, and I don't like it. I wish he would have just been like, nah, you wasted your money on education. Like, nah, all this stuff
I see
sucks.
it differently. I see it more of like people laughing at first world problems. That you have these bougie problems of like, oh, I went to college and now other people went to college and they're more up to date. Or
I don't know.
Oh, I am married with a wife and a house and my craftsman home. And there's like people laughing at it kind of thing.
Yeah, an interview with him straight up says help neutralize uncomfortable ideas. So like I can totally see where you're coming from, but that's not what he said apparently. And I don't know. It's like
Fake news.
yeah, maybe.
Fake news.
This song gives me major Inside by Bo Burnham vibes with the laugh track.
Totally.
Okay,
yeah.
sure.
It feels like something he would do. It feels like that campfire song he does Inside. I
Yeah.
don't know. Well, I'm sure we'll cover Inside at some point because I have a nice copy of that album.
Yeah, and I've never heard the whole thing.
It's funny. He defines the pains listed as yuppie pains and says it's okay to feel your own pain, even if it's bourgeoisie pain that feels inauthentic to you. You still have to feel it because if you can't feel that, you're not going to be able to feel this some exotic kind of pain that some people group you perceive to be more authentic than you has. So it's like you have to be able to accept your pains that are,
yeah, totally.
living in your home that maybe you
Yeah.
don't like anymore or whatever like that. Because if you don't feel that, you're not going to feel any pain.
Yeah. I mean, you
It's not my
can't-
favorite song, but I actually really enjoy the lyrics.
I am not normally crazy about piano songs, but I think this one's not bad.
Save me, President Jesus.
Yeah.
Save me, white Jesus.
I love the endings. Save me, white
So
Jesus.
funny.
Yeah, that was great. That was hilarious. Then we have the expletive song.
Yeah, holy shoot.
I like the lyrics. I don't think it needs the weird, almost crescendo around 2/3.
Yeah.
But I like the song.
Yeah, apparently this was written on his wedding day.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay,
oh
sure.
yeah.
It's got a lot of contradictions.
that.
Apparently it's like this realization of all that's happened and is happening in the world and how this is like this next major thing in your world kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
I actually really like the key change and added chorus and strings at 2 minutes and 30 seconds
Really?
for the final verse. I don't think it's super necessary. It's no a stand where I'm like, this is the worst keychain I've ever
Yeah.
keychain I've ever heard.
Stand in the place where
But-
you're listening to this album.
I enjoy it. I think that it keeps it interesting because it is it feels like a bit of a longer song
Yeah.
at over 4 minutes.
Now
I-
face west.
I didn't say I don't like it. I just said I don't think it needs it. But
Yeah. I get behind
It's
that.
not. It's I don't know. It's not bad.
This
There's
is
a
one of the
line-
ones that I didn't really have very many notes for.
Yeah, I don't
We've
even have it.
noticed.
It's like the pacing's fun. I like bombing my head.
Sure.
There's a line where he says, "Love isn't just an institution based on human frailty." Apparently, he said marriage, and he changed it to love. I'm assuming because it'd be weird to write that on your wedding day.
Yeah. Yeah. that-
Marriage is an
yeah.
institution of frailty. As you're about to go get married.
Imagine your wife finds that out like a year later or something. She'll be like, "Well, so what? You don't want to actually marry me?" What?
I gotta say, a lot of these lyrics kind of remind me of stuff that'd be in Beck songs. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just so many like these back and forth like opposites where I'm like, this feels like a Beck song.
Yeah.
But then we have the final song. I went to the store one day, which is all about how he first met his wife. It's the grand finale. It's an actual love song through and through with very little negatives.
Yeah.
It's just like how he met her and the shock of how easy it was to fall in love with her.
I really liked the lines, say, do you want to get married and put an end to our endless progressive tendency to scorn? I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. There's a lot of fun lines in this. I like the vocalizing break around 2:15 before getting
Yeah.
into the second half. And the line, insert here, our golden years, near the end, which is apparently a note he left in the lyrics. And like I'd said, that's when he had a realization he was writing a love song and was like, wow, I'm writing a love song about you. And like left it as that, which I also find kind of nice as like a way of saying, like, you're not there yet. It's not sunsetting yet, because golden years usually are followed by a sunset. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we're still in our journey. And the last line, I've seen you around, what's your name, was the first thing Emma ever said to him in that parking lot.
Oh, cool. I've seen you around.
So
What's
romantic.
your name?
Seen you around, Plouffe. What's your name?
Plouffe.
I knew it.
Yeah. It's spelled like it sounds.
Apparently the second, well, no, it's not. But the second time they ever saw each other,
Ploff.
second time they saw each other, he was like unpacking his tour van and she was walking by and he was like, want to hang out with a crazy person? And I guess she did. Now they're married.
Wow.
That's funny.
He's got Riz.
Yeah, he got mad Riz.
This is very
He's
romantic.
the Riz King.
If you have a partner, text them, call them. Tell them you love them.
Yeah. It's a very cute album. Very cute. It's kind of weird, and he says some definitely different things.
It is almost too personal.
I can see that.
Almost.
If
Yeah,
you
almost.
aren't somebody who likes that level of intimacy with like someone else, because you're living through someone else's intimacy, I can see that being uncomfortable. If you
Yeah.
don't put yourself in those shoes, or you don't like that level of intimacy, or it's hard, yeah, 100%. I would be like, this is very uncomfortable.
A little too much.
But
I liked it.
I said I picked this without having listened to it fully.
Tell me more.
The reason why is this record. So I got it from our local auction. Mm-hmm. And it's the coolest record in my collection.
What?
By far. I actually almost saved it for that, but I'm like, this is so cool, it deserves its own thing.
Is
So-
it the one that has like
Whoa.
Give it to
Why
me.
would
Give
you
it
try to
to me.
spoil this before I try to talk about it?
I'm looking at
so,
it.
the cover we have. It is art that's like kind of old medieval time
Yeah.
kind of art.
Churchy.
Where
Like a tapestry,
Tillman is a little baby Jesus
Like
sucking the teat of, I guess, Mother Mary. There's like a demons. There's an executioner, an owl with eyes on his chest, demons, stuff like that. Apparently the art was just like he had an artist, or his brand or label had an artist. He gave some ideas and she just like made stuff.
Okay.
A lot of this he kind of said, I want stuff similar to this. I think the breastfeeding thing, he was like, I want that. But the art and everything is all done. It's got a nice kind of like background painted, like watercolor.
Yeah.
On the back, it's just art continued. There's a mariachi
Mariachi!
band. There's
Hey!
two rabbits dancing with a hand on the butt. The executioner's still there.
Yeah. Ever looming.
Yeah, I take it as like this kind of, reminder of the darkness
Yeah.
that was back there. And there's a dog eating a child in the bottom corner as well.
Yo, the dingo ate
Very
that
dark.
baby.
And then it
I
has
understood that reference.
the songs split up by each side at the bottom in a very small font. There's also a devil eating somebody up at the top. I didn't notice.
Is it a double LP? Because it's only like 45 minutes long.
It is. And then we got Shrek font on the side.
Shrek font?
Father John Misty.
I'm going
I
to have to
love
look
you
at
there.
that closely later.
Now, when we open up the gatefold, it's a pop-up book.
Oh, that's very neat.
Okay, that's wild.
Oh,
That's
God, you've hit
wild.
the mic. So
That plays music.
Oh, my
It
Lanta.
plays a MIDI of the first song.
That's great.
So, like, you open it up, it's got the executioner in there. He's a bartender.
Yeah.
It's got demons starting fires, and there's dead people, and someone taking a picture. It is so cool.
How much did you pay at the auction?
No, we're not done yet.
Oh,
we're not
my
done
But
yet.
wait, there's more.
So when you open it up, there's goodies.
What?
Tell
You
me
a
more about the
poster?
goodies.
So unfortunately, it's one of those double LPs that's always on one side. But
Oh, yeah.
it's what it is.
Well,
That's fine. They had to do it for the pop-up book.
Yep.
I'm okay with it.
Ooh,
I
steal this
got a
album.
download code for Plouffe. He loves those.
I do.
So we have a poster.
Ooh, I love posters.
Poster Malone.
That was a good
The
job,
one
Jamie.
side has all the lyrics, again, some
look at
Shrekky kind of font with the album name.
Yeah, that is a Shrekky
And
font.
credits. On the other side, it's pictures of him and Emma, a collage.
Wow.
There's pictures of the lyric books. So there's some of the quotes. There's a note that Emma left him after their first night together. It says, "Stay as long as you want. I mother effing adore you. Just leave the door unlocked." Notes that she's left her again, or he's left her. And it's just very, very cute.
Yeah.
Again,
Very nice.
a nice little tribute to their relationship. Oh God, how do you
Stand
fold
in
posters?
the place that you are. I got that stuck in my
Oh, I'm
head.
gonna leave this.
Now
Why'd you have to do
face
it?
left.
Why'd you
All
have
right,
to
what
do
else
that
is
to
there?
me?
There is more.
What? There's more.
But wait.
Yes. There
Call
is
now. What is it?
exercises for listening.
What?
So
When you hear the tone,
per
turn the
song,
page.
there are instructions for things to do. So there's I Love You, Honeybear has supplies that you need, and then it tells you to like go out in an August morning and do X, Y, Z. And all of them there's like exercises.
Have you done these?
Absolutely not. There's a Mad Libs.
That's cool. I miss Mad Libs.
Things to do with your partner for when you're astride me. There's like a bunch of different things. It's really neat to have put in this much effort.
Do it with Yumi.
You know what? I just might.
Pardon me.
The exercises.
And then we
Oh.
have the records themselves, which are this
oh,
triple color
tricolor.
design. I don't
Pink,
know what else to say.
purple, blue.
And then there's there's more lyrics on the labels, which is nice. Again, from the lyric book. This is played at a 45 speed.
Okay,
So
that
you
makes
get
sense.
more quality, allegedly, on the full side. I think it sounds good. I am very lucky because I assume the pop-up book portion of it
Yes,
made it
that's-
so that lots of records were unplayable when people received them.
Really?
Because they would be
It
warped.
caused
I'm assuming
warping.
from the pressure
Yeah.
and the uneven pressure and stuff like that. Mine plays flawlessly.
Nice.
So I am...
There was a recall.
I don't think they recalled. I think they just repressed and sent it out.
Yeah, they didn't. You got to keep your warped ones, and they sent you out ones that weren't warped. So
Yeah. So that's the thing. You can see some of the things that are referenced in the songs. I'm trying to see what else I have in my notes here. Oh, I paid $35.
Dang, that's a steal.
that's so.
Absolute steal.
What's it worth?
I have no idea. I didn't
Look it up on
I'm not
You
gonna
look it up
sell
on
it.
Discogs.
The listener can. I'm not going to sell it, so I don't care how
well,
much it's
I'm
worth.
just curious.
I mean,
I'm
I'm
not
very
going to
curious.
sell most of my albums, but I like knowing what they're worth.
If I had to guess, I would assume not much because most aren't playable. So like if you're
no,
going to get
but
one,
that makes yours even more
I believe
valuable.
the
I'm gonna
ones,
sell it.
the subsequent pressings don't have the pop-up book.
yeah.
though.
So the ones with the pop-up book will be damaged. So they're not going to be worth as much.
Unless
like the record
they're
itself.
not.
Yeah.
And then you're like, mint condition, baby.
But I'm not selling mine, so I don't care.
$300.
yeah, it's like the copies of the Rolling Stones Sticky Fingers album that have the actual. They're made out of jeans and have a zipper on the
Oh,
front.
yeah.
And
And
all
they
of-
would like warp other ones, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
crazy. Well, I'll just start with my vinyl verdict because it kind of all leads together. So I paid $35 for this, which is absolutely insane. You can't see me, but I was smiling looking through this album, and I do every time. I hope you could hear my excitement because this is the complete package. Like for an album, this is what I want when I complain about how a record is just an expensive CD, like how I wanted something nicer from George Clinton, how I wanted something nicer
Yeah.
from Begonia, and I just couldn't get it.
Begonia.
The fact that this is also a very good album is just the cherry on top. This is easily the top spot. It's the best record I own. If I was in a fire, I'm saving this one over anything else.
Dang.
Yeah,
do you-
I
how do
mean
you
the bar
dis-
is high now for record packages. It's crazy.
How would you display this one? I know you have the record wall, but how would you display the good part?
I would
which
probably
is,
just have this
like open.
kind of open sitting. Well, not too open, but open sitting on next to my record player,
I
so
gotcha.
that people can see it and enjoy it, or just have it separately from my other records so you could pull it out easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is something I want to admire all the time, and like when it played as well, I was like, holy smokes. I am extremely lucky that no one else knew
Yeah.
that this is what you could get in a record package.
Yeah.
Crazy. Plouffe, what do you think?
I like it, but it sounds to me like a lot of other solo albums from artists who are in bands. It's very produced and personal. His singing is decent, but he kind of toes the line, and the lyrics are interesting, but most of the time they're not really exploring anything all that new. It's just his take on an experience that I've gone through or someone else has. It's a good sound. But having that one electronica track near the start was kind of weird, and the rest of it gets a little old after a while. Not all the tracks, some are great, but some of them are kind of whatever. But then the lyrics are a bit too weird at times too, so I wouldn't play it if company was coming over, because they're like a little vulgar sometimes. So I don't know. It was actually really hard to rate it, because when I enjoy it, I really enjoy it. But then the few times it was off-putting, it really off-put me. So I give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It's decent. Now that I've seen it in person.
For $35.
As a package, yeah.
Well, I don't know if we can actually get it for $35.
If you have this package.
If I could get that version for $35, yeah, I'd probably buy it.
What would you rate it?
It's cool enough.
As a package itself.
Oh, like 9 or at least an 8.5. Like it goes up at least a full point just because of how cool the packaging in that release is.
Absolutely.
So
I hope that battery doesn't die in there.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think.
Because I'm assuming it's just like a card battery.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, if just the music alone, 7.5. But if I could find that version, I'd probably pay that much for it. It's definitely worth it. Really cool.
Jamie?
I enjoyed the record, but like Plouffe was saying, when it gets too personal or when it gets off-putting, it becomes unenjoyable or not as enjoyable. But I really appreciated his voice. I really appreciated the level of production he put into it. And I really enjoyed the packaging, even though it may cause warping of your records. Hopefully not.
This won't warp my other records, but it might warp itself, so I got to be careful.
Yeah. I would almost store the LPs separately from the sleeve.
If you're wondering, it's worth about $100 not shipped. And most don't say anything about whether the records can play.
Yeah,
Fascinating.
$100 sounds about right, honestly.
I did like the multicoloredness
it's
of them.
beautiful
That's
press.
very
Very,
interesting.
very
Very good marbling. Yeah. As a package, I rate it as like a 10 out of 13. As an album that I had to listen to for the purpose of this podcast, it's more like an 8 out of 13. Like the highs were good, but the lows were enough that I was like, oh, that's kind of... I really don't want to know what that guy's got on his bed sheets.
That's going to live with you now.
Yeah.
I don't want to know his internet history.
Yeah. Yeah. So, on the whole, though, enjoyable.
You know what I want to know? Your next pick, Jamie.
Yeah,
We're
Jamie.
listening to the Kinks
Oh,
and their song Lola versus Power Man and the Money Ground Part 1.
Just the song?
Power Man 5000?
No, the album.
Oh.
This is what it's
I
like
don't-
when worlds collide.
Are you ready to go?
I do not know who the Kinks are. Never listened
Not
to them.
them.
Oh, okay.
Not
That's
them.
good.
That was Power
I'm
Man
glad.
5000, yeah. The Kinks are okay. I've got an album by them. Live
one?
album.
Oh, the live album.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
I couldn't
Well-
decide what to buy, so I bought the live one.
I look forward to it. Plouffe, do you look forward to it?
Yeah, it should be fun.
Jamie, do you look forward to it?
Yes.
Listener, do you?
Yes.
It's another
Who was
concept. It's one of those things where it's like it's another Jamie pick.
Oh, boy.
Sure.
And you
Okay,
might
I'm
enjoy-
excited. Jamie picks are either 10s or 1s.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Okay, this is the problem. Like we will understand.
Who knows if Bell likes it or not.
music or what Bell likes about
Yeah.
music.
Spoiler
He might come in
alert,
and
I
go.
don't like music.
I
I'm
like
just
the
guessing.
Kinks, Jamie. It should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, see you next week.
See you later.
See ya.